Hello friends, today we are going to see about the REST API, and that's in the Golang. So today we are going to cover like these various topics. So one is Go mod, init, Go mod tidy, environment variables, like how to read the environment variables using Golang. There is a struct interface, dependency injection. Then we'll talk about the different layers: service layer, model layer, API layer, that is also called controller layer. And we'll also talk a little bit about Json marshalling and unmarshalling. Code is already posted in this link, so you can go and check that code. And when you run this code, you have to copy this thing in a particular locations. So I will talk about that also. And in order to know a little bit more about these topics about Golang and about interface struct, there is a nice link here. You can go here and you can read the contents. And next we'll talk, like next video we'll talk about Java Spring Boot REST API status. So we'll create the same project using Spring Boot and Java. Before going to see these things, let's see a little bit about how to install Golang and how to install Java. So in the last video, I talked about running the project, and I also gave the idea like let's research a little bit about how to install Golang and Java. And I hope you might have done that. But if you miss, there are a few steps, I have mentioned here. Go and check that. So there is a link here, https golang.org doc install. So you'll get all the instructions, how to install Golang. So once the installation is successful, you have to set the path. So if it is Linux, Unix, or Mac, or Windows, there are different ways of like setting path in the different environments. So here, I have given a few steps, and that's for Mac. And in Mac, like if you have like old Mac, there can be the bash profile, and the new on the top of that, on top of the bash profile nowadays, the Mac default is something GSH. So you can either you can set this, or you can set both. So how will you do that? So this is open the file like bash profile, or open the file vig profile, and then you have to set the path, export go path users, and then you're like this is like the this is the path of your home, and then you get the go there. And then you have to set like go root, and then in your home path there should be go and bin. If it is not there, go and create the go bin folder. So if there's you have to set the go bin. And then like if you go for the G profile, this similar things, you have to set the path in this way. Let me show you a little bit how this looks like in my computer. So if I go to my root, like the home, and then open like G profile, then you can see here I have to set the path, go path and go root. Yeah, so in this way. So this screen, whatever I'm sharing, it may be very tiny for the mobile users, but if you open that in a computer, then you can see clearly. Yeah. Okay, so that's the way how we install Golang and set the path. We'll also see a few steps how to install Java. So for the OpenJDK, you can go to this link, and in this link there are different versions. So I have installed Java 15. So that's the step for that. Like go and download the tar file for your environment, for Windows or Mac. So I'm just giving this example in my Mac. So I install Java 15 in my Mac following these procedures. So yeah, so download the jar and then unzip and copy it to this path, and then verify Java 15 availability. So once you unzip that, then that's installed. So how to check that whether that's installed or not? So for that, you go to your terminal and just execute just like this, user libexe and this one. So you execute like this, and then you'll see the information about that. Okay, that's already there. And then go to the G profile or bash profile and add this line. Again, another one is how to install. Okay, so typo here. So how to install Maven. So brew install Maven. So these are the few steps how to install Java and the Golang. And of course, you can find the way in a better way in a Google. So you can Google it and you can do that. Okay, so before jumping to each of the topic, let's see the project about the REST API, how it's working. So let me bring that screen like that. Okay, now I'll go here and I'll check the path here first. So I'm in Go source code. So yeah, so that is the right place where you put your folder code, under Go source and code. And then from here, run this, go run, and then cmd code and main. Okay, so it's saying that, okay, welcome to the world of Golang. And before that, we see the HTTP port is 9000, app name is code, and the version is 010. So now I'll hit the API. So I will come here and see HTTP localhost, and it's running on port 9000. So it's 9000, and if I just hit this, it's the mistake I did. HTTP localhost and then 9000, and just enter. Okay, now we'll see that welcome to REST API, and I have created one API here for the status. So if you do like API and status, then we'll see that, okay, app name is code, app version is 010, app status up and running, and uptime is 55 seconds. So if you refresh, that time will be changed. Okay, yeah, so now it's 68 seconds. So that's the way the project is running. Now let's see the code and understand, each topic, whatever I have mentioned here. Actually, I have used all these things in the code. So let's see that in a detail. Okay, so let's start from the main, and let's see what is the first one. Okay, first one is go mode init and go mode tidy. So the go mode is the way to handle the dependency. So project depends on different library, and if you want to add that library, this is the way. So if you see, there are two files here, go mod and go sum. So if I open this file, and you'll see here, this project is depend on two external library. One is the mux and another one is logrush. So I want to include this. So for that we need the mode. So what we do in a beginning, go to the terminal, and then in the terminal just hit like go mode init. So as soon as you hit the go mode init, it will create these two files, go mod and go sum. The next thing is we want to add the dependency. So what we do, as soon as we do go mod tidy, it will find the dependency like this mux or logrush in the code, and once it finds, it will add that dependency here. And if it also check if there are some dependency that's not used, that will be removed. So that's a job of go mod tidy, and there are many other options you can go and explore about the go mod. Okay, so that's about the library dependency, how to handle library dependency. Next we see the environment variables. Okay, we'll go to the main here, and in the main, if you see here, there is a I've given environment, and I'm saying okay, get init int with default. So actually this HTTP port is getting from the environment variable. So if you have set up HTTP port, then we'll get that value, and if you do not set up, then we'll get the default value. So I'm saying okay, my application will run on HTTP port that 9000, and application name is code, and the version is 010. So that's the information. And let's say if now here we see when we ran that, then we'll see it's taking app version 010 and it's running on port 9000. So if I want to change the port, how to change? So let's stop this, and then what I can do, export, and I can take this here, and I can change the port. Like instead of 9000, if I say 9001, and okay, so the port is set now. Let's run the project. So I'll run using the command go run cmd code main. So our main is under cmd under code, so we can run in this way. Okay, we'll see here the message HTTP port 9001. So it's running at port 9001. Let's verify that. If I refresh this page, will not see anything because that's a port 9000. Let's change the port 9001. Okay, now we can see. Yeah, so in this way we are reading the environment variables. So for the environment variables, actually I have created a package environment. So just create a folder, and under that there is a file called envgo. Let's see a little bit about this file. So if you go in this file, I have defined the function. So that's my function, and I'm passing few variables here. I'm saying okay, 2 parameters, name and the default value, and whatever the name it comes, we are using the OS lookup environment. So it will check that variable is there or not, and if it finds, it will get the value. If it doesn't find, then it will give the warning message, okay, did not find. Then it's going to return the default value whatever we are passing. And that's a small function, and there's a logrush. So we are using the logrush for the logging. So if you see here, nice format, the like warn, and then did not find this app name and all those things. So this is as a result of the logrush, and later we'll modify this thing. We'll add the like the time, what time it's logging and all those things. So we'll configure that in a few videos, in next few videos. Okay, so that's the logrush. You can also read about a little bit about the logrush, and the similar functions I have written down here. Similar function like for say get string. Suppose we do not want to give the default value, then just use the get string. So similar to that, there is a get int, and I have added like get int. That's all. If you want to add the the get boolean, you can add those kind of things. So I'm making use of the environment variables using this environment package. Okay, now close this file, go back to the main here. Okay, so in the main there is something start time. So in this way we'll get the initial time. When the application starts, we'll get the start time, and based on that we'll calculate what is the uptime, how much it ran. So whenever the start time or whenever we hit the status API, then what it does, it will take the start time, it will take the current time, and then it will subtract that, and it will give that time. So that's the purpose for the start time variables. I have put that in a init, so it will run automatically. That's the package level of the function. So that's why I just put that in a init. There is a main function, and in the main function, if you see here, I have given something, the DTO, and so DTO is a like data transfer object. So I'm using the DTO here, and it's like the status DTO. In this status DTO, what I'm passing the app name, app version, and start time. And then when we pass that, it will return one struct. So there is a struct here in Golang. It's a similar to class, not exactly same, similar to class, but it will keep all the values in a struct and return that struct to the status DTO. Next thing is, I'm passing a status DTO to service. There is a service layer, and in that layer I'm passing a status DTO, and then it returns the status service. Next thing I'll pass the status service to new server, and here, and then API server, and I can run the API server. So the API server will run at port 9001. We have configured for 9001. This is also called the dependency injection. So if you see here, there is a object here, and new service is depend on a status DTO, and we are injecting that object, we are fulfilling that dependency. So now new service is satisfied because we pass that status DTO. So this is called the dependency injection. So we inject the dependency. Now if you see, the new server depends on a status service, and we pass that here also. So in this way we can say we injected that dependency here. So in this way we satisfied the dependency. So we are doing the dependency injection here. So let's see here a little bit about this package. So DTO. So here if you see, go to the model. So under models there is a DTO, and there are two DTO I have put here. One is the status DTO and a status response DTO. What is the use of these two? So the status DTO is going to handle all these data like app name, app version, and then when we hit the API, it should return some JSON data. So whatever it returns, that's we have to put here. So let me show you this thing. If I go to the status response DTO, these are the things: app name, app server, app status, uptime. And we see here in this struct. So this is, I said earlier, this is the struct, similar to the class in a Java. In this struct, if you see, these are in uppercase. So there are some rules while creating the struct in a Golang, and the rule is like, if you put that uppercase, that's a variable name or the struct name itself, it's visible outside of the package, and if it is lowercase, it will not visible outside of the package. So this is the way how we handle the visibility of the variables, or on the top level, that's the struct itself. So that's why I put here. And if you see here in this place, I'm giving app name in lowercase, app version. These are the fields, what we say in a return of this API call. So if you see app name, that's lower, app version, app status, uptime. So whatever we put that name here, that will appear in a response. So that's why I'm maintaining that in a status response. I'm saying DTO because this is data transfer object, so that's transferring the object. So in different places. So that's like, this is, you can say that's for the one input and that's for the output thing. So that's two struct I have created. Okay, come back again to the new status. So new status is a function under this DTO. So under DTO package, let's check that status DTO and what is there. So let's see this new status, and we're passing three parameters here. So I'll open this status DTO, and this is also, see, this is a struct, and that struct name is status, and here I have three variables: app name, app version, and app start time. And this is the new status. So new status is a function, whatever we are calling here. Let's see here, DTO and the new status. So you're calling the DTO and new status and passing three parameters. So all three parameters will go here, and we return another object. So I'm saying, okay, I'm creating the object, and I'm here, this is the address. So you'll see I'm passing the address of this object. So creating the object is storing all the stuffs, whatever we are passing to the function new status, and returning the address of the status. So that's using the pointer here. So status, and we'll come back, and now we have all the data in the status DTO. We have the app name, we have the app version, we have the start time, and then we pass all the information to the new service. So let's see where is the new service. So that is in the service layer. So we'll go to the services, and then status, and under that there is a status service go. So I'll go and open this file, and once I open this file, you will see this new service. Yeah, so there are few things in this file, so let's see that. So first thing is, okay, new service. So the new service, this is the function new service, and that's the function whatever we are calling here, new service, where we are passing the status DTO. Let's check a little bit detail on the new service, what's there. So in the new service we see something, the interface. So I'll talk a little bit about interface, why we are using interface here. And there is a status, and that's the status is a struct. So in this struct we'll see I'm holding DTO status. So DTO status is that object where we are passing the three parameters. Remember, for the dependency injection, let's go back and see here we are passing the status DTO. So that status DTO we are passing in a new service, and then in a new service we are saying, okay, new service, get that status DTO, that's in this variable, and again return something like this, like something like this kind of struct. So this is the struct here, a status DTO. So in a status DTO, the first thing is we have the link for this DTO status in this status DTO, and then we are returning exactly the same thing. Let's see, there are other things here. Just a minute, let me make this a little bit bigger. If you see this function, there is a little bit the different type of things we see here. Like this is the get app status, and that's the return things, whatever we are returning here. And in the beginning we'll see something func and status. So what we are doing here, we are binding this function with this struct. So in a Java, we have the class, and in a class, if you want to have some function, then what we do, we just in a class define the variable, enter, and then you can add the function name there itself. You can define the definition of the function inside the class. But in case of Golang, how to achieve the similar thing. So as soon as what we do, you do the function and like this struct name, and that's the one variable. If you do like this and define any function, that means that function is part of the status. Now we can create the object of the status, and we can call this get app status. So this is the way how we bind. So now let's say if the status has one function, get app status, and there can be another function, two function, three function. Like let's say there are three functions associated with the status, but you want to expose only one function outside of the wall. Like next I'm going to call this this function in a another layer like the controller layer, and here we say that's the API layer. So in this function I want this get app status so that I can return the response status to the API call. So in order to do that, I want to expose this function, but I do not want to expose other function. For now, like we have only one function get a status associated with this struct. There can be multiple function, and I want to expose only one. How to expose? Interface is the answer. So that is the one of the use case. There are many other use case for the interface, so that's the one use case of the interface. What I have done, I have just copied the function name and it's a return type, and it's put it there. It should be exactly same name. And when we put this, then what we do, like next thing, new service, and we are creating the object of a status, this object, and once we create that, the return type should be a status, but we have not mentioned the status. What we are saying, we have mentioned the interface name. Instead of that, we have mentioned the interface name. That means this can hold this object, and at the same time this interface can call get app status, because you have linked this thing in this way. Yeah, so that's the one thing. And we'll see how we are calculating the get app status. So there's a uptime. We got status DTO app start time, that's in a seconds. So in this way we got the app time. Now we uptime, and there's a app name, app version, app status, and uptime. So we are preparing response status in a get app status. So this is the function of the status, and we are exposing through the interface. We are not calling now. This is just the definition. Let's see how we are calling. Go back to the main, and in the main we have a status DTO. We pass the status DTO, so all this information is inside the new service, and inside the new service there is a status object. So under that object all the informations are confined. Now we see there is a status service. We pass that status service to new server that is in the API. So if you go to the API here, so inside the API we'll see the new server function again. So go here, API go, and inside the API we'll see the new server, and we're passing the two parameters. One is the HTTP port, and another one is the object itself. So object for the status, like response status, and it's not a response status. Let's check that again. So go to this function status service here, and it's returning this object through interface. So that's why it's returning this. Then we have to hold that object through the interface. Let's see that's why here the type is the interface itself. So now we can hold that. This is the way we can define the router using the mux new router, and then this is the struct. Under that we are saying address, that's the port. We are using the port here, so the app will run under that port. We are using the router, and then we're saying the read time, write time, and max header byte. So all this can be configured under this, and then it will return the object of the server. So if you see this server, so the server has HTTP port, server, WG, and status service. So all these informations are here. Now it will return all those things. Now if you want to define the API, how to define the API? So this is the way: router, handle function, handle func, and then we'll say how the URI look likes. So API status, and then it will go to the, like if you say the welcome, it will go to the function welcome. If you go to this, if you say the status, it will go to the function status. So let's say the welcome function is somewhere below. So we'll see the welcome function, and in the welcome functions we are just returning the welcome to the REST API. That's all. So that's why, you know, if you come and see here, if I just do 9001, okay, so that's not running. Let's run that first. Okay, where is that? Yeah, terminal. That's a terminal. Okay, cool. Let's see the path first. So path is, okay, we come to code and then go run cmd, and it's code and main. Okay, oh, it's running at 9000 port. That's in another terminal. Okay, so that's fine, 9000 port, and come back here, run that on 9000 port, and you'll see the message, welcome to the REST API. Okay, so that's good, we got that message, and that's the welcome function. Let's see another function, status. So there is a like status. So the status function is under this server struct. So how I have defined that, let's go to the status API, and I will see that, you know, in that function I have mentioned this name. So in that way I have associated that function with this server. So see here, is and the server. So I have given the struct name, and in this way I have given this the function here, status, and let's see how I'm calculating. So with the help of ACE, we know that under this server we have the status service, whatever the object we are passing as a dependency injection, that's there, a status service, and then we're calling get API status. We'll get the status, app status here, and the next thing is, once we get the app status, that is the struct. Our data is in a struct, so we have to Marshall that. So Marshall is, you know, something we are converting that to the JSON. So that's the marshalling here. Again, like sometimes like we have like JSON, and then we want to store that in a struct. That process is called unmarshalling. So sometimes we call encoding. So instead of Marshall, we can say encoding. Unmarshalling, we can say decoding. So decoding is like getting back that in a struct or in the variables. Or sometimes we also use some different names. So for here, like let's use the Marshall here. So we're using the Marshall. So using the Marshall, we're converting to JSON, and then we're saying okay, right, that's a response, and header is okay. But if there's an error converting to or marshalling to JSON, then it will return something, a status in internal error, server error. So that's all about this. So I know this looks a little bit, complex, but what I want to suggest, if you go and read this like tutorial, like Go Learning here, you'll get the idea about the struct. You got the idea about the interface. We got idea about dependency injection, and then it will be easy to understand. Also, I want to suggest like put some print statement in this code, and then see how the flow is happening, like how to start, like go to the main, and then new status, do some print line inside this function, print line inside this function, and see how the flow is happening. Try 1 or 2 times, and then you'll get the clear picture. Okay, so that's all about this demo for today, and you can find the code in this link. So go here and you can find the link, get the project, and try to run in your local. And in the next video we'll see the similar thing using the Spring Boot. Okay, that's all for today then. Thank you.